looks good. We are live. Good morning, everybody. We are live on Fanbase, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay, now we're live on Fanbase, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. All right, we are ready to go. All right, just double checking some last minute connection stuff here. All right, looks like it worked itself out. Okay. So we are here every morning as usual. I'm a little earlier than normal today. And so uh, we did receive a ton of assessments yesterday. Legal will get that out to you. Remember, this is a holiday season. Yes, typically we get it out in 48 hours, but that's 48 business hours, all right? So remember, my lawyers don't live in the office, they do have families and holiday seasons that they go celebrate. So just keep that in mind as you're judging the 48 business hours. Okay. All right. Beyond that, the number one questions that we were getting were around the construction of the home. Let me get into that a little bit here. See if I can throw you up a photo of that. Can you modify the house? You can, and it will modify the price. So the whole point of the special is we pre-priced everything out to make it the best that we possibly can make it for you. So the base package includes your immigration. It includes a brand new house. It includes the land that that house is built on, of course. It includes a trust fund. It includes the bonds that can allow you to live without working by getting that passive income from the bonds. So it's essentially the best of both worlds. You can upgrade and get a car included, but all of that stuff is pre-priced. So as soon as you start tinkering with what's included, then your price immediately changes. All right. We have had some people who have done that. That's fine, but your price immediately changes. If you want 100,000 target per month instead of 50,000, we've gotten a lot of that as well. Then you got to add, you have to add 55,000 US dollars to the package price in order to double the, excuse me, in order to double the, excuse me, in order to double the bond capital. All right. So yeah, you can actually change the bond capital to anything you want. But if you want to double the bond capital target from 50,000 to 100,000, then you have to add an additional 55,000 to the package price. I always run into this where I'm looking for a picture that I didn't think to prep until I've already started the live. Let's see here. And Facebook and fan base. I don't think there's a way for me to put pictures up on those two, so you're just gonna have to listen and follow along. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, that's what. All right, this is a 3D rendering of the design included in the end of year special. Let me see if I can put it up for YouTube on that green screen of yours. Ooh, it is early today. I'm actually tired. All right. Let's see here. Quick share. There we go. All right, there you guys have it. It's this YouTube green screen kind of sucks. You can see it a whole lot better on the TikTok side. So if you have TikTok and you want to slide on over to the TikTok side for a moment to be able to see it clearly, you can go ahead and do that. As you can see, it's a two-story house. It's about 1,600 square feet. It might actually be a little bit bigger. Downstairs here in the front, there is an office. You can see your staircase is right there on the other side of the front door. On the second floor, there is a balcony, essentially a living room, like a family room, and two bedrooms. On the downstairs, there's a living room, a kitchen, an office, and a bathroom, a guest bathroom. Right in the second bedroom on the upstairs, there's also a bathroom. Right, so it's two bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 2 stories, and that will sit on a 50 by 100 plot here in Danny Beach. Okay. Hey, Miss Gurley, how are you? Okay. So that is the home that we will construct as part of the package. Okay. Sometimes we change the roof. That's typically the only thing that we change. Every now and then we change it to a hidden roof. And the point of changing it to the hidden roof is so that we can add roof access and additional stability for folks that may in the future want a functional roof where they put like a gazebo on the roof and they actually like utilize roof and hang out on the roof. So sometimes we do that. All right. Outside of that, though, this is the house that we priced up with our partners in China as far as all the materials being shipped in and all of that stuff. So, for example, we had a onboarder yesterday switch to a ranch version house. So that changed the price for them. They're essentially not even in the special anymore because they changed the house. All right. Had a prospect. Well, they onboarded, so an onboarder switch the size of the land. Like they wanted an entire acre. I don't even know what for. There's only two of them, but that's what they want. So again, that changes the price, of course. So if you change anything in the special, you end up exceeding the preset price range. So now, the easiest thing is we've had a few of you guys say, hey, I don't know if I would actually be able to pay all my bills and support my lifestyle on 50,000 shillings a month. I think I need 100,000 shillings a month. That's fine. Then we just need to increase the bond capital by $55,000. And then the target goes up to 100,000 a month for, 10 years. So we've done a ton of that. All right. So that is fine. A lot of people seem to like the safety of the whole 100,000 versus the 50, so that's not a problem at all. That just costs the additional 55,000, and that would execute immediately. Because what would end up happening is the bond would have double the amount of capital in each one. So the standard one, oh, thanks. Good morning. So the standard one is 1 million local currency in all 6 of the bonds that pay out twice a month. So in order to get you up to a target of 100,000, what ends up happening is there'd be 2 million local currency in each one. So yeah. India. Hope the weather is good in India. How many bedrooms? How much? Well, it's part of a package. So the package includes immigration here to Kenya. It includes all legal compliance with taxes and all of that. Our lawyers will set all of that up. It includes your bond laddering, which would give you passive income of at least 50,000 local currency per month, so that you don't have to work and you can live off your passive income. It includes the land, a 50 by 100 plot, an eighth of an acre that the house sits on, and it includes the house. So this particular special is 185,000. It's all bundled, so changing anything in the special will dramatically change the price. The land is at Diani Beach, in the Diani Beach area, in a suburb called Kinando. It's a 15-minute walk to the beach, 5-minute drive. And the one upgrade that is already priced in is you can upgrade to having a brand new luxury SUV included in the package if you want the car already there for you. We can adjust the passive income. Like I said, most people who adjust it want to double it. They want 100,000 Kenyan shillings a month to live off of instead of 50,000. That costs an additional $55,000. The target is 10 years, so you're expected to be able to have that passive income flowing for at least 10 years. So the package, in essence, allows you to relocate and not have to work for the next 10 years. Most folks are still working, most especially if they have a remote job. Most folks are still keeping that remote job. A lot of folks have a business. There's a ton of folks that are retired, so their money is flowing in anyway. So a lot of folks are still keeping their other sources of income, which is great. It was very helpful in being able to reach out to other investment opportunities that pop up. What we call investment opportunities that might pop up. So that's the great way to go if you. Some folks though have like a 9 to 5 job that's not awesome, and so there's no way to continue that job after they move, so they are living off of the passive income, which is fine. How many are left? Ooh, that is a good question. How many are left? Yeah, just check it out. I know we did a bunch yesterday. Double check who initiated wires as well. And then yeah, I mean even if they're onboarding, if the money's not in the bank, it doesn't exist. It's all bullshit till the money's in the bank. So only if the number of the people who have wired. Okay. And the pending. Okay, there are 4 available for sure, that are just available in our inventory, and there are 3 additional pending. So if those 3 additional, if something goes wrong with their wire or whatever, then those would be back in inventory as well. Good question. Yeah, yeah, no, it's always bullshit until the money hits. I don't count any chickens until the eggs hatch. Yeah, we started with 16, so there's a little under half left. So when they're sold out, they're sold out, and then in February we're going to end the special as well. What's the down payment? There's no down payment because most of that is all government services, and you can't do a down payment with the government. So immigration, there's no down payment, right? That's a government service. Um, Purchasing land, there's no down payment for that. You just have to purchase the land, right? So all of those things are all bundled up. Even doing the trust, it's all government registrations and government incorporations with the trust. There's no down payment for that, and it's no refunds because once I give the government the money, I can't get it back, right? So most of this stuff that you're getting, an offshore trust fund, immigration, tax, compliance and certificates, county clearance for building the house. We have to submit the house plans to the county, get the construction license and the county license and all that. There are no payments for that, no matter where you do it in the world. You can't do it anywhere in the world and go to your county courthouse and be like, I'm building a house. Can you give me payments on the county license? You know what I mean? So it's not that type of party. But yeah, interesting question. Yeah, you're the first one to ask that. You just built the house. Yeah, yeah, no, it's everything up front. Yeah. I mean, with the contractor, maybe you can do some kind of like tranched off payments, but yeah, exactly. Also with the bonds, like you can't buy stock and be like, give me a payment arrangement on buying the stock, right? So when you buy the bonds, it's, all cash up front. I think most of the folk. I don't think this is too many people's first foray. I think that's why we don't hear that question very often. Most of the people who've done this have bought a house already, so they understand how that works. Or they've built the house already like you, so they understand how that works. Or they've bought investments, so they know what bonds are and they know how that works. So it's very rare that anybody's like, "Can I get a payment arrangement?" Not that it's a bad question; it's a good question because I'm sure there are other people thinking about it, but can't do that with government services. Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely target market thing for sure. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I think that's why we don't typically, for the people who actually, contact us, which is a bit of commitment in and of itself, right? Because you got to pay for the consultation and all that. And we typically do that to keep folks that aren't sure, aren't committed, or don't know what's going on kind of out because it's a waste of time going through the whole process for someone who's not actually, committed to the process. So yeah, I think by the time people actually talk to us versus looking at the lives and just asking whatever question they want because I'm live, I think it definitely sets apart who our target client is versus who our target client isn't. And then those people move very, very smoothly through the process. So most of the specials that we offer, they typically sell out. They typically sell out in about 30 days, sometimes 45. And then the people who are in that process move very quickly through the process, very smoothly through it, because they have some kind of typically prior experience with something similar, so they know how it's supposed to go. So when they don't encounter any red flags or anything like that, it's done. What about, well, we're the same way. If we encounter a red flag, we might just cut ties with you. You know what I mean? Like somebody asked us. They actually paid for a consultation and then asked us if they could pay with a money order. We were like, "What? What kind of money orders are you talking about?" um, so yeah, you know, sometimes people are just a little off. Um, you know, you know, most people will ask us like what payment methods are available, but not be like, can I like a U.S. Postal Service money order like maxes out at $950. What are you? I don't even think we offer a service under $10,000. What are you? What are you talking about? So, if we see a red flag, we'll end that relationship as well. Oh, we've seen all types, all types, Eduardo. We definitely say no to more people than we say yes to, 100%. But so that's one of the benefits of being able to run this bond laddering, especially with these incredibly high interest rates, right? When you get to a point where your income isn't dependent on clients, you can provide extraordinarily high level services because you can take in less people and give better quality to that less people. So we typically cap the amount of people we bring in anyway, because that bond income is passive income that's hitting every month, no matter what. Whether we make a sale, whether we never make a sale another day in our lives, doesn't matter, right? So that's where you want to be. You want to be in that kind of position where it's like, you know, I'm going to do, the right thing based on my principles and my morals. I'm going to, offer premium quality. I'm going to make sure that everything is done the way I feel like I need it to be done. And people not wanting to pay or having financial objections or having client objections or whatever isn't going to affect that. And I need to sell, and I don't need to like press people and force people and whatever because the money is situated. It's already taken care of. So it changes you once you get in that position. So that's the number one thing that we hear from folks that are on bond ladder programs is like now that they're free from having to worry about money coming in, the way they handle everything changes, right? So that's a great piece of freedom that I hope you guys all experience. Yes, yes, no, we do have people who do both. We have folks that so like for example, a couple clients ago we did a duplex. She's not bond laddering. So she's just depending on kind of like your regular old business startup situation where it's like, all right, we're going to try to make money. I'm going to put X amount of dollars as runway to the side to manage the business and still until the business starts, you know, making a profit, which might be 2, 3 years, right? And so that's the way standard business essentially works, right? Whereas we have other clients like our most recent Airbnb client, Bond Ladder, right? So they did the Airbnb, but then they took half of their runway and did a bond ladder. So now they have passive income in the business's name, like the business owns the bonds. So they have passive income rolling back in, and that takes care of their runway. So now it's a set it and forget it type of situation where, okay, I built the Airbnb, I put it by the beach, I put it on Airbnb and all of that stuff. I got all my taxes and all of that squared away. I got an investor's permit, so I'm legal to do business in Kenya, blah, 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 blah. All of that's done. Now, even if I don't get a single customer, it pays for itself because I got that bond ladder set up, paying, you know, what it takes to have staff and all of that stuff, with security and electric, all of that stuff, toilet paper, laundry, all of that's covered. I don't have to look at that ever again. So any money that comes in doesn't even have to hit the local bank account, right? They can have that set up where all the Airbnb money, since they're paying in dollars anyway, goes right into their U.S. dollar bank account, right? So even on the business side, folks will use the bond laddering, and then that bond laddering will still give them a cushion of security, right? Folks that come here and actually live here, which all investor permits can do that. A lot of them don't because the investor permit side of things is for you to do business. So a lot of them are like, all right, I'm just going to do business and I don't live there, which is fine. But for the folks who do come and live here, they can have two ladders, right? So they can have two ladders. They can have their personal ladder and they can have their business ladder, and both entities are making passive income. And that one just happened to be owned by the company for whatever, for whatever reason. I think it was the U.S. structuring reason included in that. So it made more sense, even from the U.S. tax side, for him to have the company own that bond ladder because I think he has the foreign dividend received deduction set up. So next year he'll be able to take excess proceeds from the bond ladder, send it to his C corp in the United States, his umbrella corporation, as a dividend, and it be 100% tax deductible because of the foreign dividend received deduction. But that's something that his tax professional set up on that side. So we'll work with your tax professional and make sure that you're all the way good, but we can't do U.S. tax um, advice or U.S. legal advice. We handle the Kenyan law and the Kenyan taxes, no problem. We have CPAs, we have lawyers, we have all of that on this side. But I do not have on staff lawyers on the U.S. side. We can definitely make um, referrals though. Like somebody is currently onboarding and they want to do something with the Wyoming LLC. We don't know, it's not our business, whatever, right? With this Wyoming LLC. But they asked us to form it for them, and we don't do that, but we referred them to an attorney that can not only form the Wyoming LLC, but can also form the LLC's bank account. So we'll definitely refer you out to people if you don't have anybody. What is the trust? Yeah, so like for that particular client I was just talking about, the trust owns everything, right? So the trust owns the company, the trust owns their personal land, the trust owns the land that the Airbnb is on, and all that. So the trust owns everything, but typically via companies, right? So the trust does own everything, but it is typically via companies. It's typically not directly, all right? Why not directly? Let's say you have the trust. Let's say that you're doing the bond laddering, which means that your trust might have over 1 million cash in a very short amount of time, right? Because you're bond laddering, so you're compounding very, very quickly. And the trust owns your house directly, and somebody slips down the steps of your house and breaks their leg. What do they now have access to in that lawsuit? Everything that's in the trust, everything the owner of the property owns, and the owner of the property is the trust. But if the trust owns a company and the company owns the house, now what do they have access to? Whatever the company owns, not whatever the trust owns, right? So that's why it's not direct. Good question, though. How long is the special run for? February. Special will finish in February. What is that? Is there a way for me to? Is that what that is? Is there a way for me to do green screen on Facebook? I just saw a button that I never noticed before. No, that's not what that is. Okay. Why only until February? Okay, that's actually a good question. The reason why it's only until February is because we have to buy 6 bonds, all right, to be able to execute your bond ladder, right? So once you onboard, we start, creating the trust. We'll create the trust first. Once the trust is created, the trust will have its own bank account. The trust will have its own equivalent of a social security number, and you'll have to choose a trustee. If you choose our corporate trustee, things move very much faster. If you choose to be the trustee, then we have to get you qualified then individually to be able to access those bonds and all that stuff. All right, fine. Now that's done. Now we have to go ahead and find the 6 bonds that are going to do your bond ladder. So each of those bonds is going to be over 10% ROI gross, which gives you the 50,000 per month in passive income gross, right? So that's how that process goes. So now think about it. If we onboard you, let's say we onboard you in February, then we start making your Kenyan trust fund, right? So once we start getting in your trust fund, let's say the trust fund's not done till April, right? So now we're at April. Okay, now the trust fund is done. Now you pick your trustee, right? Let's say you go the easy way, you get the corporate trustee. Great. Now the corporate trustee is fully onboarded, excuse me, by maybe May, because that's a pretty simple process. May is still, it's now January, February, March, April, May. That's 5 months out of the 12 months out of the year. In order to make the bond ladder work, you need 6 bonds. There's only 7 months left. See the problem there? So that's why the special cuts off in February, because that's the latest you could possibly go before you mess up your own bond ladder. Hi, I'm a real estate consultant. I have properties on sale within Nairobi. We can partner. Maybe we can partner. That would have to go through our legal team. Number one. Number two, we don't do properties that have service charges. So if you have service charge properties, then we wouldn't be interested. We only do properties that do not have a service charge because we're Diaspora Freedom Initiative. And so part of that freedom is freedom from unnecessary bills and unnecessary service charges. So it depends on what kind of property you have and where. There should be a link in this bio. Should be able to send an email um, via the link in this bio. All of the no, all of these live streams except for fan base are business accounts, so they all should have links in the bio. Fan base maybe not so much. I don't think there was a way to do a business account on fan base. So fan base should have to like comment your email or something. How much does it cost for the car upgrade? It's variable. It's variable. So there's a 5-door Suzuki Jimny. That's the lowest cost vehicle that you can choose. That would increase the overall price to 215. There's also a really cool vehicle called the Tigo 7 Pro Max. Yeah, it sounds like a cell phone, right? Really cool car out of China. That one is also on our radar. That bumps it up to 230. So it really just depends on like what you get. The Tigo has a 7-year, 200,000 kilometer warranty. This is the best warranty offered by our auto partners. And it's awesome. I'm thinking about buying one myself and giving it to my wife. So the Tigo is really, really nice. Um, so yeah, but there's a bunch of other cars in between as well. So there's a Renault Duster. There's a Renault Kilios. There's what else? There's a Tigo 8, which is above the 7, obviously, but it's pricier. So it's not really included in the special, but it can be acquired. It just pumps up the price a whole lot. We don't do used cars, so sounds like you're a Kenyan because in America it's not actually called that. Somebody asked about a Harrier. We don't have in America. It's called an LX4, an RX, a Lexus RX 450. We don't have it as a Harrier in the United States. So if you call it a Harrier, sounds like you're a local. But those are all used. There are no new Harriers in the Kenyan market, so we don't do used cars. We do cars with warranties where our clients don't have to worry about it if something breaks. Yeah, no used cars. But yeah, so it just depends on which car you buy. Yeah, I mean there are a ton of people that actually have to do that. The car upgrade is really for people who just want it all done for them. A ton of people are just like, I'll buy a car when I get there. You know, just pay a driver for a month or two until you buy your car or whatever, and call it a day. You'll get the shits of that quick though. You'll get the shits of the driver thing real fast, unless you have a live-in driver, in which case you typically need your own car. So essentially if you upgrade from driver to chauffeur, and they actually like live on your estate, that's a different scenario. But if it's not a live-in driver, then you'll get the shits of that real quick. Can you put it in Nairobi and say no, not inside the special? You can do it, but you won't be part of the special. So it'll go back to standard pricing then. The special has already been priced out. That's why it's a special. So, you get your land is at the beach in Diani, which is incredible to begin with, right? So that's an incredible feature of the special. But you can't be like, no, I want to go to, Nairobi or Nakuru or something like that. That's a different deal altogether. So that wouldn't be part of the special. Love, what's going on? Thank you. I appreciate you. How are things? I don't know. I might need to hire you, love them. I've been good. I've been good, but I don't speak French. I might need a French instructor. My son is actually picking up Swahili quite well, which is interesting because I don't even know who speaks Swahili to him. Maybe his friends do. His English, of course, is solid, and and his Chinese. He's actually picked up quite a bit of Chinese from our last China trip, and I speak to him in Chinese every now and then. So he's actually grasping that pretty well. But he really should. We should both know French, considering our surname is Dibole, but neither one of us speaks French. So mm, he is. He is. He's 21 months now. It's crazy. So he says like "let's go" in Chinese, but he says "bye bye" in English, but he says hello in Swahili. So he's interesting, but he's like listening. We're not like actively teaching him that. You know what I mean? At least I feel like he's too young for me to sit down and try to. So we just talk to him in whatever languages we feel like talking to him in, and. If you miss the February deadline for the bonds, do you have to wait until next? No, it's just that. So it's the language of the contract, right? In the contract, we guarantee that you'll get it in 2026. So in order for us to be able to actually meet that guarantee, we have to deadline it in February. Now, if you want to do it past that, then you can just come in and do like a standard bond laddering, right? Because the price on the bond laddering is not a special price, right? The price on the bond laddering is the price on the bond laddering. So you can come in and do bond laddering at any time and get your like a contract for bond laddering, and then that will specify whatever it is that we're guaranteeing to give you. In that sequence. Eventually, though, and it won't be too far away from now. Eventually, we are going to abandon bond laddering, right? The people who purchase bonds now, their return on investment is on the documentation from the government for the bond, so they're going to get their interest rate no matter what. Okay, so they're locked into their returns. In the future, though, the interest rate's going to go down, and it's going to get to a point where it's not worth it for our clients to start with bonds anymore. And so at that point, it's going to be whoever got it, and whoever don't got it, don't got it. So let me show you what that looks like, so you kind of understand what I'm saying. All right, there's documentation directly from the government. So you can see this is directly from the Central Bank, and it says coupon rates. Coupon rates are the return on investment that the government guarantees you. And then you can see that it says tenor, and the tenor has how many years to maturity, right? So for every year you get paid that interest, that coupon rate twice. You get it paid, well, you get two payments that equal the interest rate, right? Sorry. That could be confusing saying twice. You don't get twice times the interest rate. You get the interest rate cut in half over two payments. So every 6 months, you get half of the interest rate, right? So for this particular one that we're looking at here on the side, it says FXD1 2022 025. The interest rate is 14.1880, and the maturity is there 25 years, but there's 21.8 years left because this is a reopening. This is actually available now, right? So what would happen is there would be two payments a year that would equal to, for our program, since we get $1 million local currency of each bond, it would be 141,880, right? And then you would cut that in half, right? So 14 divided by 2 is 7, right? So you're going to get 70 plus thousand twice. So remember when we said our target is 50,000, but nobody normally gets that. So if you look at this bond that's available now, you can see why nobody gets that. Our target is you get 50,000 a month, but this bond is actually paying out 70 plus thousand per month, right? So that's how, the bond laddering works. So these prospectuses are from the government. They're not ours. We're not like brokers or anything like that. They're government prospectuses, and you're locked into that amount for the amount of time. So this would actually give you 21 years. Remember, we target 10 years, but typically people get more than that. So now you're seeing why people typically get more than our minimum kind of promise, right? Eventually, though, these interest rates will go down, right? They'll go down to closer like what the American interest rates are right now. So if you go look up like an American bond, you'd be lucky to get 7%, because bonds are safe investments. The safer an investment, typically the lower the return on that investment. The more volatile the investment, the higher the chance of return is, right? So right now, this is sovereign debt. These are treasury bonds that are guaranteed by a government, but the interest rates are akin to what you would get on the stock market, right? These interest rates are actually higher than like S&P 500 right now, right? So that's how that whole thing works. So it will get to a point where the interest rates go down to like normal, quote unquote, and at that point, it won't be worth it to buy. Like, you can still buy them, and there'll still be, passive income coming off them, but you wouldn't be able to live off the passive income. And if you're doing generational wealth laddering, it definitely wouldn't cause the same compounding effect that these bonds right now are causing. So the longer you wait, the closer you get to the time where the interest rates correct, and then it's not going to be worth it, right? But if you already have this bond, you're guaranteed that higher interest rate. So even when the interest rate corrects, it doesn't change, the payout on previously purchased bonds. All right. Hopefully that answered your question thoroughly. The coffee, I killed the coffee today. The coffee's like gone. I'm on water now. I do like one coffee a day anymore. I'm trying to cut back on my caffeine.是啊，我会说普通话啊。I can't always read it though, so you got lucky and wrote something that I can actually read in Chinese. Yeah, no, we get that a lot. We get that a lot. A lot of folks, though, in this season, because of the bonds, we see a lot of folks using alternative like funding and financing. We can't really guide you through that. We can just tell you what we've seen with our other clients, and then you gotta like talk to your tax professionals and your legal professionals and all that at home. But a ton of people have financed the entire thing, and then they'll come over here. Now, some of them, they've actually financed everything, come over here on that financing and like paid the financing back, because you can make money over here in US dollars and you can make a lot of it. But a bunch of them tried to do that, failed, and then filed bankruptcy, right? So there's a ton of people who did that as well, where they're like, screw it, we're going to get this done. We're going to roll the dice. We're going to finance the whole thing. And then we're going to try to pay it back, of course. But if that don't work out, part of being American is access to bankruptcy. So they talk it over with their local bankruptcy attorneys and all of that. They get everything going. They give themselves typically 6 to 12 months to like make it happen. And if it fails, it fails. And then they, follow in the footsteps of Donald Trump and file a bankruptcy. So there's a lot of people definitely like, I guess, recognizing that the bond rates are not going to be there forever. And so like they're moving on it just to make sure that they get in and that they get that return on investment. Not that you need to do that, but in case you didn't know, let you know what a lot of our clients are currently doing. How are they making it? Typically, most of the clients that are making money in US dollars are in short-term rentals. So typically, like for example, can you see them from here? Not right now. So behind me, actually, I can show you a picture of them. There are homes that we built. They're mini mansions. And those particular homes are outstanding. They're 5 bedroom mini mansions, 3 stories, functional rooftop. Let me get you the actual pictures of them. And so they are on Airbnb. They go for $550 a night. They're actually 6 bedroom because there's actually a dedicated maid's quarters, but there's no like maid that lives there all the time. So there's like an additional apartment with its own entrance and exit that's designed to be a maid's quarters. Let's see here. So you can actually technically have 6 people, well, 6 couples in the mini mansion if you wanted to. So it's a large format Airbnb, so the pricing is appropriate, but they get, let's see why, okay. But they get 550 a night. Let me get you the picture on those. And this is not a 3D rendering. This is the actual picture of the site. It's really, really nice. And we do have this blueprint. Some people love it so much that they just create a 5 bedroom house off of this blueprint. We own all our blueprints, yes. So anything we've built, we can reproduce. Now, can you buy it? Yes. Like if you don't ever want to build that house again and you want your thing to be unique, yes. I can't give you a price on that though. It's specific to the blueprint. All right, here we are. So this is, so there's a pool in each and every one of them. There's 6 of them on that acre and a half. Each one has its own private pool, just like this, its own garden and gazebo in the back. It's 3 stories, 360-degree wraparound, second story patios. There is a functional roof, like a railing up there. So you can go out on the roof, have rooftop and all of that, like they're nice. They're really nice. So these are all Airbnbs, and they make 550 US dollars a night here in Kenya. So yes, these folks, they came in, they did the same thing, they took the loans and all of that. They have something like an 80% occupancy at $550 a night because they live here at the beach, right? Things are different when you live in a tourist area, right? So because they live here at the beach, they can make that kind of money in US dollars, and they were able to actually pay back US loans from Kenyan money. So it's possible. But they're Americans, so if it didn't work, they have the ability to file bankruptcy. It's a legitimate attempt at a business, and if it doesn't work, then if you took the loans from the U.S., which we always recommend doing, if you're a U.S. citizen, then you can file bankruptcy. You just got to talk to your local people, because there might have to be some things that you do, like you might have to have like a US company, and that US company might need to own a certain percentage of your Kenyan company, and then that's how you're sourcing, like the business loans and all that. You might have to already have business credit, and if you don't have business credit, build it, or do personal guarantees, which isn't as risky if you're moving here, right? Most of the risk and all of that stuff is because you still live there, right? So if your credit gets shot and you're using credit every day because you still live in that territory, that it's a little riskier. But if you're moving here, even personal guarantees don't have the bite they used to have because that credit doesn't follow you. So just talk to your local person and see what they say about it. Really, really beautiful houses, right? See if I can give you another view of this one. I love the building these. Let's see. Yeah, there's six of them. Yep. Give you another view of it. How much did it cost? About 550,000. It's a minivan. It's a six-bedroom mansion. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 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 absolutely. It'd be well over 20 million in the United States. Here's another angle. Can't see the pool from that angle. You're a realtor in Miami. 100 million. Oh yeah, 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 definitely. And that's like a solid equation because it's beach. It's a beach property. So yeah, definitely. This one is an acre and a half from the beach. Like from the rooftop lounges and all that, you can see the ocean. Yeah, it's actually helpful that it's three stories because then you can actually see the water like over the stuff that's in front of it. But the road that it's on is actually called Beach Road. Like it's the first road from the beach. so so it's right there. What do Kenyans think of all this Americans coming to live in their country, especially with all this tension of Africans and Americans in social media? That might only exist in social media. So, I mean, I guess people who live in social media might have some kind of whatever perception about it. But in the real world, there's no tension. As far as what they think, they just launched their own program called the Journey Back to Eden, inviting specifically Black Americans back to Kenya as a government. So I don't know. Go ask them. I guess I'm not going to speak for them since you asked what do Kenyans think. But they just launched a government initiative to invite Black Americans to come invest and come live in Kenya. So decide what you want from that. All right. What's the initiative called? It's called the Journey Back to Eden. It is spearheaded by the only other legitimate relocation company that's run by a Black American, called Traverse Culture. Really great company. We're not affiliated, but great company. Just because we do similar things doesn't mean that we need to compete with each other. So definitely support what she's doing great stuff up there. She's typically in Nairobi. So typically when people want Nairobi, we will even send those people, especially if they want like apartments. We really don't do apartments. We want our people to have no bills after they make their relocation. So typically we build houses. Those houses are ready to be off, grid. There's very little bills associated with owning those houses, and we move forward from there. So people who are like, no, 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 I want a condo, I want an apartment, I want a blah, 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 blah. Typically, we just send those people to her because she does more apartments and stuff like that. But super, super awesome, business owner, great, reputable company. If you want to look into them and do business with them, go right on ahead. Traverse Culture is the only other reputable company that I can, go ahead and stake my reputation on by backing. And they are spearheading that initiative, Journey Back to Eden initiative. They'll actually be on a USA tour. So they'll be coming to at least 3 cities in the United States with the government. So like immigration will be with them. Kenvest, the investment authority of Kenya, will be with them. Different, government directors, like agency directors and all that, are going with them on tour. So you'll be able to actually hear from the horse's mouth, not just a relocation company. Yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. Yeah, she's good. The rest of them, if it's a if it's a Black American talking about relocating you to Kenya, I definitely can't endorse them. It's unfortunate, but there's so many of them that are actually living illegally here, talking about border runs and all kinds of other nonsense. And they don't have investors permits. They are not able to legally work or run companies in Kenya. It's a mess. And the way that law enforcement works in Kenya is if you're linked up with somebody who's not legally registered, and doing things the right way, they can actually come back, and everyone that came through them, they can freeze all of those people's accounts. They can, deport everybody, and just consider you all part of the same organization because you came here through that illegal organization. So there's a possibility of that happening, which is horrific, But some people are hard headed, and no matter what you tell them, they got to go learn on their own. So. But I definitely vouch for Traverse Culture. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. There was someone who did a consult with me and told me they were doing a consult with like a known scammer next day. And I showed them the current court case that the scammer was being sued, and their response was, what was it? Why are Black people tearing each other down? So they went. I was like, all right, do what you want to do. Went with the scammer, got all their bank accounts frozen, got permanently deported. They can't even come here anymore, and all the money that they put in the bank here, the government took it. Okay, what do you want me to do? I warned you, but you thought Black people were tearing each other down. So go do what you want to do. So some people are just hard headed. So I will say it one more time. The only other legitimate relocation company that I can vouch for is Traverse Culture. So if you want to go do business with them, have at it. You know what? You know what's funny? Every single scammer I've encountered has been American. I haven't encountered a single Kenyan scammer. Every single scammer I've encountered has been American. Well, that's a good point. I've encountered zero in my daily life. It's all been through business, yeah. So you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas, though. You know what I mean? There was this thing that we've been doing this for like a decade and a half, right? So we've seen all the nonsense. And there was this thing like a decade ago. Thank God it's gone away. But they were calling it the hood check-in, and so people would come here, and then they would check in with the hood. So they were the worst places in Kenya, and then they jump on YouTube and complain about being robbed and being scammed. But you went to where the thieves and the scammers live to check in with the hood. Like what is going on? So it was crazy. It was, and they were actively like acting like, you know, something crazy happened to them that shouldn't have happened to them, even though they sought out, you know, the worst location they could possibly go to hood check in. It was ridiculous. I haven't heard that in a long time though, you know. But yeah, you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. But on the business side, there's always somebody trying to run some kind of nonsense. But every last one of them have been American. Um, it used to be a lot of like chargeback scams. That was big. So you have to adjust like your policy. That's why like now, if you do business with us, we typically only accept wires at this point. Because what they would do is they used to do like a chargeback scam because they had like I forget how long, but they had a long time to charge back, and so they could get like everything, like they could get their immigration and everything done and still be within the chargeback window, and then do like a chargeback scam, um, and then what would end up happening would be like it would almost automatically charge back the way they were running the scam. Like they set it up so that they could, you know, kind of get that initial charge back, even if it got overturned later. And then by the time it got overturned later, they would like close the account that the chargeback went into and like be over here. So we actually locked a couple people up behind that. And so it formed, that's how your policies form. Like stuff goes wrong and then you form your corporate policies around those weird things that happen. But every last one of them American. Every last one of them. Never had a Kenyan or an African scam us at all. So all those early scammers they were all Americans. And a couple of them, see, it depends on what state you do that from, because sometimes it's felony theft of services. So a couple folks effed around and found out and ended up with felony charges because we're still a U.S. company. You scam us, you're scamming a U.S. company. So they effed around and found out, and the sheriff showed up. They got felony time. They got a felony record. Now you can't immigrate anywhere. Now you're a felon. So now you can't go anywhere, right? So it's not really worth it. But there was a bunch of scammers and these, but all of our policies are buttoned up now, so we don't really see them anymore. Show the background. It's just the back of my compound. It's like I don't know. There's a gate back there. Not a whole lot. A couple cars. There's a pool over there. Not a whole lot to see. I'm not anywhere special. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'll like go to a beach resort or something and go live. Yeah, I like it, you know. But sometimes I haven't done that in a while. You know, the place I used to go, if you've been with me for a while, I used to go to this like beachfront place and like, you know, show the trees or show the beach and the sand and all that. But that place stopped serving breakfast. I used to go there for like breakfast and then go live like I am now. But that place doesn't serve breakfast anymore. They start with lunch. So that's why you don't see me there anymore. And if I went there for lunch, most of you guys are on the East Coast. Most of the folks who, you know, follow my lives are in the U.S. So if I went there for lunch, it would be like, I don't know, 2 in the morning for you guys. So are all of my clients? No, all of my clients are not American. I have a lot of Canadian clients, a lot of British clients, and we've had Chinese clients too. Yeah. That's illegal. We can't deny somebody on the basis of race. We're an American company. We have local vendors, right? Like we own a law firm in Mombasa, and we have our own architectural firm, and we have our own general contractor. We're a U.S. company, so that our U.S. clients can hold us accountable, so they don't have to worry about scams. Yeah, no, we can't discriminate. We'd be violating U.S. law. I'm a Kenyan. That's great. How can we work? Not directly, unless you have a U.S. work permit. Maybe one of our, like I said, we have our affiliates and vendors here. So if you're a lawyer or something, we can send you to our law firm and see if if they're hiring right now, stuff like that. But we can't hire directly unless you have U.S. working papers. And what we can do is referral fees. So if you refer somebody who's building a house with us, then we'll pay 6% of the house cost. Same as like what a realtor would get in the United States. Yeah, actually, we've had quite a few people pay for their relocation with referral fees. Well, like the mini mansions I just showed, they were $550,000, right? So what's 6% of $550,000? Is it greater than 20,000 U.S. dollars? So is it worth it to make the referral? No, it's a referral fee. So you just get a 1099 miscellaneous or something like that. Um, our CPA would send out whatever 1099 was supposed to be. It might be a different 1099. I don't know, but you get a 1099, and then you do what you want with your taxes. Yeah, okay. The only way that we can not send out a 1099 is if we pay you like $500. So if you want a 0.5% referral fee, then we cannot send you a 1099. Or if you're international, but then we got to send whatever the international equivalent is typically. Do we have? Yeah, yeah, sure. There's a lady in Ireland who does a lot of referrals. Um, one year she made over $100,000 in referrals. So yeah, yeah, yeah. There's people. There's definitely international people who do referrals. There are some people who I guess like are they're like professional affiliates, so they'll just go from like website to website and sign up for like affiliate programs, and then I don't know what they do. I don't know if they have like TikTok pages, or I don't know how they get like clients funneled into their affiliate, links or whatever, but they do, and that's like their job. I suppose it's kind of like professional couponers, right? Where they just collect, deals from different companies, and that's their job essentially. So yeah, there's definitely we had a kid that was going to Harvard, Harvard Medical, actually, and he paid for his entire college, journey with referrals. He was doing 10 a year, right? So almost one a month. One a month would be like 12 a year. But he was doing about 10 a year, and he was making like 13,000 on average for each one. So at 10 a year, he was making 130,000 US dollars in referral fees. For not doing nothing. All he had to do was refer them, right? So as long as they closed and paid, then he just got a referral fee kick out. So yeah, he was doing six figures in referral fees. Almost quit Harvard, but we talked about that. Now he's a maxillofacial oral surgeon or whatever. He's making like a half a million a year, so he doesn't do referral fees anymore. but but yeah, it's the same amount as a realtor, right? So just think about it that way. It's 6%, right? So if a realtor sold a house 10 times a year, how much money does that realtor make? It's the same money. You're just not doing the realtor work, right? So you're not doing the open houses and the showings and the whatever. Now the more work you do, maybe the closer to guaranteeing, you know what I mean, that money you get. But it's just a referral. You refer it to us and we do all the work. So yeah, that's how that works. What about that? We don't do the agents anymore. So if you came through an agent and you want to work with us, you can just have the agent release you. It doesn't cost them anything, the referral fee. So there's no reason for them not to release you. Whatever else, typically the people who were coming to us through agents were getting something else from the agent, or the likes. So you can continue getting whatever else you were getting. Right? Like one of our agents was the income care unit, and what they did was they like improved your credit and set up your business credit and all of that stuff, and then like pointed you towards like people who could give you loans and all of that stuff in the United States, whatever. That you can still do that with her company, but we're not taking on agents anymore on this side because what thing is like the clients will have a whole plan with the agent and they'll have a whole strategy with the agent, but the agent isn't on the ground, and we're not privy to the strategy because it's at that point we're essentially a vendor of the agent. That's why they're not our client; they're the agent's client, right? And so we might be offering things that don't necessarily align with what the goals are, and the agent thinks that they do, but the agent's not on the ground, right? So it's a mismatch in providing the best service possible. So we just canceled the whole agent thing. So referral, yes, the agents still make the same referral fee, but the clients are our clients. So we can have those discussions like what is it that you're trying to do? What are your finances looking like and all of that because we're not a vendor of the agent. Hey, Jenny. That would be true if they weren't still getting the exact same money. So no, we're not like circumventing the agents or taking money out of their pocket. They still get the same referral fee, which is the exact same fee they were getting before. Still getting 6%. They just don't. There's just not like a situation where it's like, oh, well, the information is privileged, so I can't tell you the information because they're my client, they haven't signed the release, and da 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 da. And then we set up something completely, you know, opposite of what would be most beneficial to them because we don't know what it is they're trying to do, right? So when we know what our client's trying to do, we can make sure that everything aligns and set them up for success. Right. Yeah. 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 Well, yeah. Like for example, that's actually a really good question. So, for example, an agent brought somebody to us and set up a trust with that person, but it's the agent's client, right? And so when they set up the trust, they set up the trust in such a way that the IRS would consider it grantor, and they're an American. So now they would have all this shit ton of additional IRS formalities to go through. And it just so happened that we ended the agent thing like right at the end of that deal, and so that that agent like turned that client over to us, and then we were able to have like a sit down with her CPA, and then it turned out that with her structure set up in the United States, it makes more sense for her to be non-grantor and not have the IRS up in her trust and have to make all those filings. And so the CPA was like, yeah, absolutely. That's not what I want. I want this. But the agent didn't know anything about that, right? And they hadn't transmitted enough information about what the client was doing for us to like challenge what they were asking for. So it just doesn't make sense to just not own the client completely and own the entire process to make sure that they're getting, because that would have actually like the additional filings and the additional taxes they would have had to pay due to those filings would have actually eaten their entire profit margin. So the agent was setting them up for failure. Not obviously not, you know, purposefully, but just wasn't enough of a specialist. Yeah. Yeah, we just don't do it anymore. Does everybody do Airbnb? No, no, far from it. Far from it. I would probably say, let me think about that. Maybe 50%, maybe a little bit more, but not enough that I can just outright say the majority. Like it's not even close to that. A lot of folks do agriculture, some sort of agricultural business. Some people do mining, but they're the minority for sure. Um, there's a aquamarine mine in Meru, and there's a titanium mine in Kinando, and you know whatever. But there, we've done a bunch of like fish farms. Chinese are really into fish farms actually. We've done a lot of fish farms for those clients. What else? So agriculture. I guess the fish farming is technically husbandry. Um, what else? Yes, there's the Airbnbs. There's a lot of like new age stuff, like retreat stuff. You know what I mean? So like come to the wellness retreat type of thing. There's that. So a lot of that. What else? Oh, we had a couple different technologists. So there's like medical technology consultants and stuff like that. So those are like more niche individuals. We work with the EA. So for those U.S. clients that need some tax advice on the U.S. side, we actually have American EAs, certified EAs, that are here. That we actually relocated them here. So, and then we partnered with them, so you can get like American certified tax advice from a certified EA here, and EAs can represent you before the IRS. So that's part of what their certification is about. So we have a couple partnered EAs here that we can do that work with. Um, so yeah. I'm an EA. Can I partner with you? No, you cannot, because we have non-circumvention agreements, right? So our partners can't circumvent us, and we cannot circumvent them. So we can introduce you to our EA partner, and you can work with him, but we do not circumvent our partners. But to have a different, having a different specialization wouldn't constitute it not being a circumvention. Having a different credential does. So if you're a JDCPA EA, we can partner with you as a JDCPA as a tax attorney, which would be different than an enrolled agent, right? Than a tax enrolled agent. And then we wouldn't come to you with any enrolled agent work, because that would be circumventing the enrolled agent. So think of it as having a mall, and there's only allowed to be one type of each shop in the mall, right? So it's a first come, first serve type of situation. And so we all have triple N agreements. So non-disclosure, non-circumvention, non-compete, right? That's what triple N is. So I will never start an EA business and compete against our EA partner. I won't circumvent him and go to any other EA, right? And I won't disclose his trade secrets. Yeah, it's just a good practice for us anyway. I mean, everybody should run their business the way that makes most sense to them. But for us, it just makes all the sense in the world. TikTok is saying tap the screen and share the live. Tap the screen and share the live. Set a what? Set a gifting goal. Where do I do that? That's the problem with TikTok. It'll tell you to do something and not tell you how to do it. Okay. There it is. Set a live goal. There you go. All right. Okay. Let's see. Hey, Kristen, thanks for the gift. You're almost there. Send a message to invite gifters to come back. Okay. TikTok is definitely a different experience. None of these other streaming, actually, let me show you TikTokers what I'm talking about. So none of these other like streaming platforms send a bunch of messages to you telling you how to like run your life. TikTok is also the only one that like challenges me. I guess it sometimes thinks that it's like a recording or something. So it'll send me like a puzzle, and it'll be like, solve this puzzle to stay live. And I think it pauses the live while I solve the puzzle. So I'll be like in the middle of talking about something, and this puzzle will pop up on TikTok, and it's the only one that does that. What do I mean by puzzle? Like it's a puzzle piece. Like there's a picture and there's a puzzle piece, like a jigsaw puzzle piece cut out of the picture. So you have to slide the puzzle piece over to the cutout and like drop it in, and then it, like, your live comes back on. Where are we? We're live on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Fanbase. hmm We're thinking about. We had so many Chinese clients in the past. We're thinking about like starting to do Red Note as well. I don't know. We'll see. Will I do live in China? No, I'm conversational with my Chinese. I wouldn't call myself fluent yet. Yeah, I think my fluency will probably improve while I'm teaching my son Chinese, because obviously my vocabulary needs to expand during that process, and I'll probably bring in somebody else. You know what I mean? Some kind of Chinese tutors. When that time comes. So my vocabulary will probably expand at the same time. Same thing with like Swahili. I'll probably learn the most Swahili while my son is learning Swahili, like in school. And I'm helping with homework and all of that stuff. I'll probably pick up more Swahili that way than anything else. Yeah, I mean, he does all right. Like, he definitely does all right, and it all makes sense to him. That's great. That's the mind of a child. You know what I mean? He's 21 months old, and he'll say hello in English, then he'll say hello in Swahili, and then he'll say goodbye in Chinese. And that's all just off of him ear hustling. You know what I mean? We haven't had any formal language classes. You know what I mean? He just started speaking. So, kids, man, it just makes sense to them. It's beautiful to see it. Just got to maintain it. That's right. This is not your first one of my lives. That's right. Stewardship. This has to be stewardship. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, it's just super important to maintain some form of family dynasty via stewardship. But you have to have things to be steward over. So you can't do it while you have nothing. You got to build some things and then institute stewardship over those things. Oh, that's an interesting question. Are there official languages in my personal family constitution? No, no. But that is an interesting question. Hmm. Hmm. I suppose there are languages that you could want, the family to engage with for whatever reason. So I suppose you could add a couple languages to a family constitution. No one has ever asked that. That's such a great question. What internet services are out there, and what do you use to stream while live? Yeah, so there are a few. There is a company called Fiber. And they do fiber optic. There is which one? We use Dimension Data, which is also fiber optic. There is Starlink. We don't typically do any Musk business, but it does exist out here. So there is Starlink. There's also 5G cellular service providers. So like Safaricom and Airtel will have like MiFi services where you can kind of walk around with a modem that has a SIM card in it, and they have like specific cellular plans. Obviously, you can Wi-Fi hotspot your phone, but they have specific, cellular internet plans for home internet. So I guess you get more bandwidth or whatever the case might be. So there's tons of options. Right now, we're using fiber optic with Dimension Data. Oh, and by the way, we did fire the last webmaster, and the new webmaster has recovered all of the assessments that the old webmaster had jacked up. So those assessments are coming out. I think you had asked about them before. Your username obviously isn't your real name, so I don't know if we recovered yours. So if you don't see it, it's Christmas time, so keep that in mind. But if you don't see it within 48 hours after the holidays are done, let me know. All right. Okay, cool. Cool. If you submitted a new one, that one definitely came through. We got like 7 or 8 yesterday. So the old webmaster was definitely messing us up. And I thank you for bringing that up, or else we might not have caught it. But yeah, if you just did a new one, they're not writing out the assessments over the holidays, but after the 25th, give it 48 hours and you'll get an assessment by email. You might get one before then, but definitely give it the 48 hours after that. I know they're going through the backlog right now. What it says. If you go to our website, which is in the bio, you will have the option of doing either a generational wealth assessment if you're looking to do a generational wealth trust and you're on that side of our target clients, or a relocation assessment if you're on the other side of our target clients. And then our lawyers will kind of do a high level overview breakdown. You'll get like a PDF document of like a high level overview of like your options. So we don't ask for a crazy amount of information, so that overview isn't crazy specific, but you will get a high level breakdown. And I think they're even adjusting. The adjustment I know isn't done yet, and you might not see it until the holiday is over. But I think they're even adjusting it so that if you want to offer additional information and get a bit more of a tailored breakdown, there's going to be like a box at the end where you can just type away and put in whatever information you want. How much does it cost? That's free. So that's free. Now, if you want to start getting specific after they email you the breakdown, that's what a consultation is for. Yeah, I'm sure there's actually internet service providers that I didn't mention just because I haven't interacted with them. So I'm sure there's probably other internet service providers out there. I like Dimension Data, so out here and where we're building the houses that are part of the end of year package, that Dimension Data is available in that, geographical area, so they can hook up to the fiber optic cable out there. And of course, Starlink is available out there. And I don't know who else might be available out there, but Dimension Data definitely is, and Starlink is. I also have, what is the name of that daggone modem? I have the modem that is like the internal or like the OEM modem for ExpressVPN. So that works well too. So there's certain things like, if you want like Disney Plus or I don't are we boycotting them right now? I don't know. But if you want Hulu or Disney Plus or Netflix or Prime, video, or like if there's something that you want, Peacock, what are the other ones? Those things, right? Some of them don't work outside of the US. So having a modem like that ExpressVPN one, is one of the ways to like keep it. Sometimes for our like remote working, like digital nomad people, they'll also get that modem, and so anything that goes through the modem ends up going through the VPN, and like your connection to the VPN is different than you just buying ExpressVPN and then like logging in. That typically doesn't actually work. But if you have the modem, whatever technology they're using in the modem to connect the tunnel to the VPN, it's like way better. And so it actually works on everything. I even took it to China and it worked, which is like, in China nothing works. In China, typically the thing that works the best is to have a foreign SIM card that has like travel data on it, and typically there's a deal with whoever it is, China Telecom, China Mobile, whichever service provider is providing you with data while you're there, where it's like a government approved VPN. So like you don't realize anything. You still have access to whatever. But that's typically the best way to get a VPN over there. Typically, any kind of like paid VPN you try to do in addition to that just doesn't work. But that modem still works. You can get it on Amazon, even if you're already here. Like we bought it when we were already here. We didn't know about it to bring it with us. So Amazon delivers here. You got to pay your import taxes, but they deliver here. Good question though, especially for all the digital workers and the business owners. Hey Keisha, can you get a job? Yeah, you can. You need to get the job in advance, because if you get hired out here, then that company would process your work permit, which means that your immigration would essentially be free. There might be some kind of contractual requirement to that, but it's rare that you're going to get a salary that you expect to get. So, if you're a specialist of some sort, and it doesn't have to be like you're a surgical specialist or something, like obviously that, works as well, but it doesn't have to be like that level specialist. Like we've had folks that have been in like the hospitality industry for years, and they've come in like they have experience as like the front desk manager for like Hilton for whatever 15 years. And so they come into one of the boutique hotels here, and that's enough to be the general manager of like the boutique hotel, and they can handle it because it's a boutique hotel. So we're talking what, 10 rooms at the beach, right? So if you've managed a Hilton with 120, 150 rooms, hey babe, you're out of here. All right. With 150 rooms or something like that in it, then the boutique hotel doesn't matter. All right. You can definitely easily handle that. So like that might be a commensurate salary where you're getting paid something close to what you were getting paid as a front desk manager in the U.S., and they're providing you a place to live typically, right? Like there's a manager's apartment like at the hotel and all that stuff. So, if you have some sort of specialization, it might be enough to make it worth your while to do that. But typically, you don't want you don't want local wages, and you don't want the local like workload. Like a lot of people get one day off a week here. Like It's not a 40-hour work week. So, um, but everything's an employment contract. There's very little informal, employment that like you would be interested in, right? So everything's an employment contract. So that's kind of cool. People typically get paid once a month here. Also, a lot of people are not used to that. So most folks are not trying to get a job. Most folks are either running a business, they're still working a job overseas, or for the vast majority of people who have neither of those things, that's what the bond laddering is for. The bonds offer them passive income so that they don't need a job while they live here. How long is the process? Which process? The total thing for the end of year special, like how long would it take to finish everything? The house takes about 9 months to build. So within the, let's call it 10 months that we're doing the house, all of the other moving parts get done within that same time frame. So 10 months. No, you don't have to. You can definitely come through and like stay in a condo until your house is ready. Some people do that. Yeah. I wouldn't go so far as to say most people do that. Most people actually wait till everything's done. But some people will come and then we'll help them get like an apartment essentially and they'll live in the apartment until the house is ready. It that typically that typically makes them appreciate the house more. Because the folks who wait, they get a house and it's like what they expect. It's a house, like it has all the things they expect the house to have, and that's the end of it, right? But the folks who come and do like the condo thing, like they get the brownouts, right? Like the power might go out or whatever. They might have a solar water heater, so when it's a cloudy day, they don't have hot water and stuff like that. So they realize why it makes sense for us to build the house because we build the house by like US standards. So you have, yes, a solar hot water heater, but it has an electric water heater backup. So on a cloudy day, you still take a hot shower, right? There are mosquito screens in all of the windows and the front door, and the front door has like a screen door, which is something that is not typical here, right? So in the condo, you're like, man, the flies are coming in, the mosquitoes are biting, and all of that stuff. When you get to your house, it's like being in America again. There ain't no mosquitoes getting in anymore. It's not designed that way. So typically, the folks who come and they do, a condo first and then get to their house, they're like, whereas the folks that just come directly into their house, they kind of miss that. So they don't realize like how well the house was actually designed for them. Yeah, definitely. We actually had somebody that just requested a bathtub upgrade. And there's this really, really nice kind of whirlpool bathtub with like a wand and the massaging jets and all of that stuff that we added uh, to their plan. So yeah, bathtubs. We can do freestanding bathtubs. We can do those kind of like smaller bathtubs. So it's interesting that you say that because a lot of people ask about that. Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could do a full on like spa. Yeah. We had one that we built that it was like a walk-in sauna beyond the shower. And then there was like a tub in the back over there. So yeah. Yeah, no, it was big. You're right. It was super big. The like that shower area, like the walk-in shower area, was the exact same size as the master bedroom. So it was really big. Um, I do have it, but I think I think it's a PDF. So I'm not sure. Not like a picture, so I'm not sure if I can like show it to you. But let me double check. There, quick share. Let me see. I think I would have to convert it from a PDF to a photo in order to be able to show it to you. Let me check one other place here. Oh, wait, no. I do have it in photo format. Just got to find the right one. Is this? No, that's the first floor. Got to go get the second floor. Yes. Okay. So this is the right one. So on this side, right over here, see this top side? It says WC. That's like the European abbreviation for bathroom. But see, the WC is the same size as the master bedroom. And in between the WC and the master bedroom is a walk-in closet that's virtually the same size as the master bedroom. Right? So you have a giant master bedroom, and then behind, where the bed is set up, you have a giant walk-in closet, and then there's a door in the walk-in closet that leads to a giant his and hers like bathroom, right? So, which this design is for a mini mansion, for one of our mini mansions. And then you have that giant balcony that's even bigger than the bedroom out front there. Then there's a giant family room. So it makes like the master suite almost an apartment. And then you see there's that like private office in the master suite there as well. And then off beyond that, there are two more bedrooms on that floor. Then there's a bedroom on the other floor, the picture that came up before this one, right? So you can have whatever, you can have whatever you want. This one's 425, I think. You want to see the outside of it? Let me see if I can grab that for you. It looks like. Oh, there it is. It looks like that. So yeah, that was just the floor plan on the inside. That's what it looks like on the outside. All right. So yeah, you can have those big kind of gigantic sauna style bathrooms. We've done them. We build apartments, yes, but we don't typically put people in apartments. So when we build the apartments, it's typically for someone who is doing an Airbnb. Let me see. You're on YouTube here. Let me see if I can green screen you something in that'll show you. What's that? That might actually be one. Let me see. Um. Oh yeah, that's one. This is a smaller one. There's two bedrooms. You see the two stairs. I hate with the green screen, but you see there's a stair on this side and stair on that side. And so those are two-bedroom Airbnb apartments. And then the entire floor slab is elevated, so cars are parked underneath. So that's one that we did where it's apartments. Let me find another one, or maybe our most recent one is in here. We did a 6-bedroom duplex recently. I can show you that. Let's see. Oh, now my head is in the way because of this green screen. From above, so this is the pool. And then this is a 6-bedroom duplex. And then like right here is the staircase, so they're completely separated. So it's 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bath on the bottom, 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bath on the top. So yeah, I mean, we build them. We don't typically put people in apartments, but we definitely build them for our investor clients. Turn off this green screen. There you go. All right. You guys want to see it too? Sorry about that, TikTokers. Let me see what I can do. These devices all have like different images on them. So let me see if the same images are in this guy here. Mm-mm-mm. So many more phones in this one than the other. Or photos. One good thing about Sam too. Now, let me bring that picture up for you guys now. All right, so yeah, we were looking at this one with the two stairs on both sides when we were talking about that. And so there's two-bedroom apartments. The entire thing is raised off the ground, and so the cars can park underneath them. So that's one. And then the other one that we just looked at on the other side there is that's not it. Yeah, you guys are actually getting a better view of this one. Let me switch. The green screen on TikTok is just better overall, in my opinion. All right, there we go. So this one was a 6 bedroom, 6 and 2 half baths duplex that just got finished. Now the landscaping and all that is done. I guess I'll bring back out the drone pilot and get a finished picture of that as well. So we will build out like apartments and all that. You can see on the top there. Oh, I can look at that. I didn't know I could do that. So on the top here, that is the solar hot water heater, but it has a electric backup. So that electric backup allows it to operate even when there's no solar. All right. So yes, good question. Yeah, man, definitely. Good question. We definitely do apartments, just typically for business clients. The apartments are typically designed for you to have folks living in there. Now we've actually done split builds. So like we did a build where somebody had, how many bedrooms were in that house? One, two, 3 bedrooms, I believe, with a functional roof. And so they had a fourth of an acre. So instead of having like a 50 by 100, their fourth of an acre was a 50 by 200. So it was 2/8 of an acres like in a line. And so they put a wall up at the end of the first quarter acre, and their house sat on that wall with the 3 bedrooms and all of that. And on the other side of the wall, they put a pool up with two-bedroom pool houses on either side of the pool. And they Airbnb'd the pool houses. And then it was designed where like the the garage was here, so you would enter the garage, like from the bottom here, you drive your car into the garage. And so the garage was here, and there was this parking area inside here, and then there was a wall here on the top, right? So the garage is like a box. And there's a walkway, and this walkway, there's a gate that leads to the house, and this walkway, there's a gate that leads to the pool houses. And then there's an actual like fence wall here. So the house was separated from the Airbnbs so that, the Airbnb guests were paying for their living expenses and all of that stuff, while they were also separated and removed from that area. So they didn't even have to interact with the Airbnb guests at all, actually. They could just hire a property manager to do that. They could still see everything, so they could see if, the Airbnbers were getting out of hand or throwing some crazy party or something like that. But they didn't really have to interact with them at all. So that was cool. That made, I want to say it made 70,000 a year for them. So they were making 70,000 US dollars a year off of that setup. And so that was taking care of them, uh, their daily needs and all of that stuff. Yeah, also at the beach area. Yeah. I might have pictures of it, but I don't think I have the pictures on these devices. So what I'll do is I'll do a live specifically about short-term rentals, and just bring like all the pictures of all the short-term rentals and just like go through them one by one. I don't know when. Definitely not tomorrow. I probably will still be live tomorrow morning. Probably. I do have some things like I have to do. employee bonuses, and then we're doing like an employee like dinner at the site, because for the construction site employees, they certain ones didn't go home. Some of them did. It depends on what their job was, but some of them are like working through the holiday season. So we actually got like a bouncy house for like the kids, so the kids can like come to the work site for Christmas, or whatever holiday it is that they engage with. And then there's going to be like a catered banquet out there, and like a tent set up and all of that stuff. So I will be doing that. So I don't know. We'll see. It's a holiday, so don't expect it, but I might be live tomorrow. I tend to maintain discipline as best as possible, so yeah, that's true. Maybe I'll go live from the employee dinner. We'll see. Yeah, their kids can come out. Is that the special site? The special site. Oh, yeah, that's the construction site where the houses and the land are. If you're buying the end of year special, if that's what you meant. Yeah. Good night. It's a little past, I'm assuming, past midnight here. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Have a great night, Kristen. Thanks for hanging out. Speaking of, it has been 2 hours that we've been live now. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and hit me with those questions. If not, I think I'll follow Kristen. Any other questions on our end of year special, what we do, general questions, anything like that? Any other questions? If you fill out one of our assessments, remember it's a holiday season, so the 48 hours that we typically turn around and answer those assessments are 48 business hours. So don't expect that clock to start until after the holiday. All right. Doesn't look like anyone has anything for me. I will put it out there again. Have a good day. Appreciate it. No problem. You got it. Anybody else have any questions, anything like that? If not, I will call it. Looks like that's all she wrote. All right, guys, I will probably be here tomorrow. All right, I guys will talk to you tomorrow right around the same time, and enjoy your holidays. All right, see you guys later.